Hello and welcome to Come With Us, a podcast to meet all your fantasy needs. I'm Susie Nunez.
And I'm Reshea Riebenstorff, and each week we'll dive into the tempting world of books, seductive romance, and a sprinkle of spice.
Andy here, reflecting on A Court of Thorn and Roses. Just gets me really excited to read more about their love story, Feyre and Tamlin. I do think we're missing a lot of Tamlin's story, so I hope we get more of that, more of like insight into who he is.
To me, it's interesting because she wants to see where the relationship with Tamlin goes. But right now, we know that Feyre, it's on the human realm. She's back with her family. They're freaking rich now.
They're rich.
And we are live. We're recording. Hi,
Oh,
everyone.
hello.
Welcome
Oh my
to
God.
season 1, episode 2 of Come With Us. So excited to have you guys back. I'm actually not surprised that you came back because we're freaking awesome. So it makes
It's
sense.
true. Also, you're probably binging this, so it just like went from one right into the other, and you're like, you know what? I could listen to this again.
Exactly. And we love you for that.
Yeah, you will be rewarded for your good behavior.
We're good mom. Oh, ew. I was going to say something weird. I was going to say, we're good mommies. I never use that word.
Mm.
Ew. We're good
Hey,
masters.
I am a good mommy.
You can do it because you have kids. But don't do it with me though, because that sounds very sexual now and I'm traumatized. Whatever. Yeah, I cannot see it the same way.
Oh.
If you see my cat, she's part of the podcast. She's the mascot, so whatever. This week we are talking about ACOTAR again, book
Mhm.
1 from the whole series, right? And
Mhm.
this week is chapter 28 to the end. So we're ready. I don't hope I know that you read this freaking thing because we're gonna spoil everything for you, and I don't care. Again, you had
Mhm.
a warning on the last episode. Feyre is back in the human realm.
Mhm.
Feyre is rich. She has her own
Rich.
money. And then her parents, no, her dad and her sisters, like her family, they have their own money too. Tamlin actually took care of everything.
I know, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, well, it felt like overkill. Like,
How? Why?
because, like, there's taking care of them, like, "Oh, so, they're not gonna starve, and maybe it was repaired, maybe they got, like, a better-ish house." But the way in which he, like,
Went above and
absolutely.
beyond.
Yeah, I was like, "You are so out of touch with reality that you don't know what is an okay amount to help." He was just like, "Well, yes, of course I would need 7 treasure chests full of money if I wanted to be able to live for 1 year." Like.
I mean, he's a high lord and he's at high fae, so it makes
Mhm.
sense. But
Yeah.
we love you, Tamlin, for that because that's how
Mhm.
you treat a woman. You know what? In France, when Monica, like everyone is making fun of Monica and Chandler because she's like a high maintenance and whatever, and then he looks at Monica and she's like, "You're on my list," and he's like,
Mhm.
"I love taking care of you. Like I love maintaining you," and that was Tamlin, and that was really cute.
It was. It just kinda it was. I agree. I just thought that it was a really smooth way that Sarah J. Maas highlighted just the complete difference between how the Fae live and how the humans live
Totally.
after they were. Yeah. I was like, "Oh, wow, he's, like, wildly out of touch with how all of this works."
And we're
And
living for it because when it comes to
yeah,
money,
no,
heck
it's
yeah,
fine.
baby. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, 100% take advantage. He blew your house in almost, because he
He
can't control his
kidnapped you.
temper, and then he kidnapped you, and your family's
Oh.
only way of feeding themselves is you, so, like, maybe it was owed, but still.
Reshea,
Yes.
if your life was a book, what would
Mhm.
your chapter be titled this week?
My villain origin story.
You are entering your villain era?
I think I'm about to. Yeah.
You guys don't understand how I am here for it. You guys don't. I'm so excited right now.
Yeah, just pure selfishness and not giving a fuck anymore. So,
She is entering her goddess era. She's entering her divine feminine in a way that is different of like everybody thinks that it is. She's like regaining her power. Heck yes, babes.
doing my best. All right, and how about you? If your life was a book, what would this week be titled?
It's okay to be disappointed because
Oh, and there at like this
life
colon.
because life is lifing, but you are always winning, babes.
Life is lifing, but you are always winning, babes. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
I think this week was a lot in a
Mhm.
fantastic way. I learned a lot. So, what about you guys? Tell us. We want to know. You know, you have our social medias. They're everywhere in this
Mhm.
video and they are on the description of this podcast. Follow us because if you think that we're cool here, we're always teasing you over there. Okay. So, we're talking about Feyre. She's back. She's rich. Tamlin did all of this. He
Mhm.
doesn't understand what being poor is. Basically, I
No.
think.
Which
Yeah,
is great for
definitely
him.
not.
Love that for him.
Babes, yes, we love that for you. We want to be that. We
Mhm.
love it. And she's back. What happens, Reshea? What happens when she's back?
Okay, well, first of all, she's glowing. She's
Even though she was
giving
dressed like freaking Mary Poppins.
well, I mean, but that was like the style and Elaine was living for it, unfortunately. She that was a beautiful sound for a podcast.
Oh,
Oh, that sounds like something else. Oh no.
I heard it in my brain, and I'm like, oh my god.
That sounds like something else.
And we were like looking at a video before this recording, so yeah.
It was a documentary. Anyways,
He was not. Go ahead.
so she's glowing. She's giving not malnourished anymore. She's giving well
No.
rested. She's
She's giving
giving I just got
someone,
fucked last night.
yes, and she's giving someone is actually taking care of me.
Mm.
Just saying.
And Elaine was here for it. And Papa Archeron was here for it. And they were like, "Oh my god, you're back. Yay." They did like that scene in White Girls where the three chicks walk up to them or white chicks and the three and Nesta was just like, "That's sus." Like she was
Nesta,
not
Nesta was the one that hold my poodle. That was Nesta.
oh my poodle. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Nesta was like, but what I liked about Nesta was that she wasn't immediately confrontational. She was just like, I'm gonna observe for a
She
minute, and
was
she just kind of stayed
cautious. She was very
very
cautious.
cautious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Feyre was like, God, why is Nesta such a bitch? Like she just didn't even question it. So then basically her dad's like super stoked because he's like, look at all these jewels I get to measure and weigh and find out how rich you are. And Feyre's a little sad girl, trademark, because she misses Tamlin. And
Makes sense. I
then
mean,
yeah, I mean, well, and then so like when Tamlin gave them all these riches and everything, she finds out when she gets there that the glamour Tamlin had put on them was that they had a sick aunt and she went to
mhm.
go take care of this sick aunt and then the sick aunt died and she inherited all of her money.
If you're not understanding what Roche is saying, the glamour is like this
Oh yeah.
thing that basically the Fae do in magic so they can create like ideas or they can make people like not see things
Mhm.
through magic. And in this case, he make them believe that there was an aunt, like a long distant aunt, that she died and she
Mhm.
has all this money, and Farah had to go and take care of them, and that's why she was away the whole time that she was with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not infallible. Like glamours can be broken
Yeah,
and it's kind of like a mirage where like you can see it but like if you look directly at it it goes away kind of thing.
yeah.
Um So Feyre is struggle busing because she doesn't feel like she's earned this money, and she knows what it's like to be really poor and to see all these people with exorbitant amounts of money and not sharing it. And
Yeah.
Alesta, while Elaine and Nesta and Papa Archeron are just like, yay, more money for us. Let's put on a ball. She like takes her money and gathers it up, and she goes and plays like uh she plays what's the words I use, law-abiding Robin Hood, and she just starts like giving money to the poor because she's like, oh, I can't have it. And then she stops and she sees um the old shack that they used to live in
Cottage.
and
Oh
everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
Shaq. Yeah.
And she's like, this just doesn't feel right. Like, this isn't my home anymore. Wherever we're at now, like, this doesn't feel like my home. And then Elaine's trying to teach her how to garden, and because
Yeah.
Elaine loves a flower. She loves a flower so
Ugh.
much.
Yeah.
And she has nothing else about her personality that is worth mentioning, apparently. So
I
she's
don't
trying to
want
teach
to
her how to
spoil
garden.
anyone, but till this day is the same.
It hasn't gotten any better yet. But anyways,
No.
so Elaine is trying to teach her how to garden, and she mentions to Farah that like, oh yeah, Nesta left like a week after you, like she left to come to go get you, and she was gone for like a week, and then she came back and she's like, oh, like my carriage broke down or something. And Farah's like, that's weird. So she went to
Mm.
talk to Nesta, and Nesta's like, bitch, your boyfriend's glamour didn't work on me. And she's like, I know you got taken to Prithian. I got to the wall and I couldn't find a way across. And so I finally had to give up and come back. And so they kind of bonded over that. Then they talked, and she told Nesta everything pretty much. And they kind of had like a sister camaraderie moment. And I was like, yes, it's going to get
Finally.
better. It's going to get better. Snaps all around. After the terrible ball that Nesta and Feyre hated, Nesta's talking to Feyre, and she like tells her like why she was such a pain in the ass. Always, she's like, "Dude, I hated Dad. He was a piece of crap. He let Mom die, and I spent all of our money because I wanted to see if he would actually do something to support us, and he never did."
Yeah.
And Feyre was like, "Oh shit, I guess like okay, I get it." And then they go to dinner, and Nesta's just like treating her dad like shit, which power to you, girl, because if I'm talking to you right here, I don't blame Nesta and Elaine for not stepping up because, yes, Feyre did, and that was shitty that she had to do it alone, but they were also children.
Yeah.
They're kids. Anyways, so yeah, way to hate on dad. And then they like Feyre just catches out of the, corner of her mind that Elaine and her dad are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to buy the Beddor property because there's just some terrible fire and everybody died, but they can't find Claire Beddor's body, and that's a bummer, but I wonder if we can get the property for cheap.
Who's Claire Betters?
Well, okay, so in the last episode, look at me. If you did not listen to the last episode, I don't feel bad for you for not knowing who Claire Beddor is. Do you understand me? Okay.
Okay, but let's be good girls. Let's be good
Fine.
masters and
Oh, oh, I thought, okay, fine. You want to be nice? Sure, let's just switch it up. So, in case you missed it or forgot, Claire Beddor was a friend of Nesta's that was not important. And Feyre, in an attempt to save her family and herself, gave Claire Beddor's name to Rhysand when he was making Tamlin beg, um,
on his
and
knees.
on his knees. And yeah, so she's realizing at this moment, it's all starting to click. Uh-oh. I gave Claire Better's name, and then the whole family and their servants, everyone died, and Claire's missing. And she's like, oh shit, something's wrong. I gotta go back to Prithian. And that bitch hightails it back to Prithian. And Elaine and her dad are like, wait, what the fuck? And Nesta's like, you go, girl. I got you. and they're
It
like,
was literally like that. Like literally.
I mean, I'm not even paraphrasing. Sarah J. Maas writes just the way that I talk.
Of course.
And listen, if you want to know exactly what happens, read the book. And
Or listen to the audiobook.
yeah, or listen to LPN deep dives.
They're great. I recommend.
Listen,
They're so good.
they're not sponsoring us because they're just another
No.
podcast. I just want to be friends with them someday.
Jackie, I see you, Jackie. Like, we see you.
Feyre hightails it back to Prithian. I really don't remember exactly how she got there. That's neither here nor there. Not important. I think she just used the
Yes.
same carriage. Maybe. I don't know. I don't understand. But I don't care.
I don't remember, but it's irrelevant to this podcast, so
It is.
whatever.
It's
And
irrelevant.
to the story, to be honest.
Yeah, so she gets to the manor and it's kind of like nighttime-ish, I think. At least I pictured it nighttime.
It is time.
And
It is nighttime.
it is nighttime. So Feyre arrives back at Tamlin's manor, house.
Yeah.
Right?
Palace.
And right. And
I think it's a palace, actually.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But she gets there and it's beat up. Like
Trashed.
it's trashed, right? And she legit can't tell if there was some sort of attack or if Tamlin just threw a temper tantrum, which was hilarious to me. She
By the
actually is
way,
like,
we will go back to that because what the fuck?
this man has anger issues. So yeah,
Babes, like,
yeah, for real, man. Like it took her a second. She's like, did Tamlin do this? And then she like had to piece it together with her amazing hunting abilities and tracking abilities. She's like, oh, there was a scuffle. Oh yeah, there was a scuffle. See, there's this scuffle here, and then somebody fell here, and then somebody. Okay, it was just ridiculous.
We have a Sherlock Holmes moment with Feyre at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she runs into who else? None other than our favorite Alice.
Yeah, I like her
Alice.
though.
She's so great. Because
she's very straightforward.
Yes, exactly. She just looks at Feyre. She's like, bitch, what are you doing here? Why?
That's exactly the vibe that I got from Alice. Like, she's like, babes, I see you, and I know that you see me, and I know that we see each other, but you're so dumb.
Yeah, like, honey. She's like, you left when we needed you, and then you come back, and why are you here? You cannot help us. You're human. And Feyre is like, I'm gonna need you to just clear some things up for me because I don't understand what's going on right now.
Finally.
We're done playing the game.
We got a little bit of answers, like something, a sprinkle of knowledge. We kind of get it now. What do we get, Reshea? What are we discovering?
What kills me is people sit here and throw fits about what's about to happen. Readers are like, that's just too convenient. What else were you hoping for? You want a book where the author doesn't tell you anything? It's going to be this long. So sometimes, yeah, you got to have a little bit of a plot device. It's fine.
Yeah.
Basically, Alice gives the down low on what this blight is and why she was there in the first place and all the bullshit.
Let's do this really fast, really quick, because I want you to get it, but in a chismosa way. So basically, Amarantha fell in love with Tamlin. Who is Amarantha? Amarantha is the blight.
She is the blight.
Basically, like, Amarantha, it is the parasite. Amarantha, it's the sickness. Amarantha is the darkness in Prithian, basically. And this little woman, well, she's not little, she's actually beautiful, and I imagine her as a stunning. From the whole books, I think Amarantha, to me, was the most beautiful woman.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, she's a redhead, and I have a thing for redheads. Second of all, just how cruel she was. Love it. You know I have a thing, you know.
Have you spoken to your therapist about that?
Yes, we have. And third, just letting you know, fantasies are like, they can be whatever you want. So
super healthy. Love that.
Exactly. And third of all, she is just she's a woman. So to me, a woman being that bad is always a freaking move. Like, yes, if Sarah J. Maas would have given me a man, no. Immediately no.
Oh, so immediately know that Sarah J. Maas was even on your side with this because she does give you the male Amarantha, and that's her
Yeah.
boss, the king of
Yeah.
Highburn. And you're going to find out, not really a spoiler, he doesn't get a name either. Sarah J. Maas cares so little for her male characters
As she
sometimes.
freaking should.
She's just like, Papa
If they're not
Archeron,
giving,
no name.
honestly, if they're not giving us good sex, why do I know your name? Like,
I don't know.
no, no,
I don't know.
babes. We're
Yeah.
reading books because we want the spice, we want the emotions, we want the emotional intelligence, and I want to know
Mhm.
your name if you have those. If
Mhm.
not, bye bye, babe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Amarantha is the blind. Oh my god,
Mhm.
yes, it's a woman. Yes, Amarantha is the darkness in Prithian, and basically Amarantha wanted to be with Tamlin forever. Like she was obsessed.
Mhm.
But little Tamlin was like, I know you since I was a kid, and she was like an adult-ish already,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
weird.
Called grooming. Don't
Yeah,
do it.
babes. And Amarantha wanted to like groom his way up, her way up with Tamlin, but Tamlin was like, nerd. I don't think that's gonna happen. And she got crazy. Like she went so crazy that she threw a ball for like everyone. The
Mhm.
spring court specifically, was it or no? I don't
Yeah,
remember that part.
so, it was like an apology kind of thing for ripping out Lucian's eye.
Yes,
Yeah. But
Amarantha
it's
is
not
that
the
cool.
but it's not the eye that you're gonna be thinking of later.
No, 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 no. It's definitely not. Okay,
She just took it and threw it away.
so Amarantha threw a ball to say, "Okay, I'm sorry that I did that to your friend, Tamlin. You know that I am in love with you, and I want you to forgive me. But everything was a trap. That was a lie." I think she gave him an ultimatum, right? She was like, "You either are with me or you're gonna be punished."
She was like, come be my boyfriend." And he was like, "I'd rather eat rocks." And she was like, "All right, bet." And so then she took all of their magic, and she like all of the spring court got their masks stuck on their faces, and they were all wearing the mask because she was like, "Everybody just wear a mask so Lucian doesn't feel so weird." And like, and everyone was
I
like, "Yeah, let's support Lucian."
I always thought that part was a little bit
Of a
like
stretch?
silly.
So, yeah, so she ended up telling him like, "All right, let's make a bet," because what was going on was she wanted to convince everybody to take over the human lands and re-enslave humans again.
Yeah,
And Tamlin was like, "I'll never stand with you against that." And she is a bit salty because a human killed her sister, a human named
a human name.
Jurian.
We're on the same page. Yes, Jurian. So basically, the story goes like this: Jurian is was a very, very, very like high ranked soldier for the
Mhm.
human forces, right? Because we have to understand that at the moment, the Fays and the humans were having a war because
Yeah.
the wall didn't exist at the moment. So
500 years ago.
500 years ago.
Mhm.
So Amarantha had a sister,
Mhm.
and that sister fell in love, like crazy in love, obsessed with in love with Jurian. He like pursued her too,
Mhm.
and he double crossed her and he betrayed her so he could actually use her to get
Yeah.
through Amarantha and like the whole Hybern and whatever in the war, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and he tortured and killed her, and then Amarantha found out her
Amarantha's
sister
sister,
was
yeah.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and she
so
went
then
feral.
she lost her shit, as she should, first of
Makes
all.
sense. They're family. Hello.
Yeah, and the punishment that she gave Jurian was worse than death, okay? This would
Love it, by the
break
way.
anybody. It would break anyone.
How can you not love Amarantha? Like she's so fucking crazy. Like she's crazy.
She is nutso. But yeah,
Yeah.
so she tortures him within an inch of his life, plops his eye out of his body, puts it in a ring, and encases it in glass, does a magic spell, keeps his finger bone, just the bone of his finger, on a necklace for 500 years and has some weird spells. So this Jurian dude is in a constant state of awake
He's
in that
aware the
ring,
whole time.
aware, never sleeping, never
Mm-mm.
eating, never fucking, never going outside, never touching grass. This dude is losing his mind.
And he's watching everything she does.
Everything.
Alice just told her all of this in the kitchen while Alice was like getting some food while she was
Putting
trying
out.
to escape. Yeah, she was trying to escape through, I think she was going to another court because there was nothing left in the spring court for
They
her,
were
right?
trying to go back to the summer court, I believe.
I think
Right?
so because she has two nephews, remember? She has like two
Mhm.
kids. She tells all of this to Farah in the kitchen in like a matter of like 10 minutes, probably, or less.
Yeah,
And
she
Fernand's like,
just
what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Why nobody told me anything?
Yeah.
Why is everybody here like that?
Mhm.
And we discovered that while they were at the party, basically Amarantha is like, what was the bargain about?
Tamlin was like, I'm not gonna support you in invading the humans' lands and
Enslaving.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because humans are capable of being good people. They're capable of coexisting with us. And she was like, oh, really? Tell that to my dead sister. And he was like, you're wrong. And she said, okay, prove it. And so
Mm-hmm.
she glued the mask to his face. And then
Mm-hmm.
she said, you've got 7 by 7 years. She's a numerology chick too. I guarantee it. You
Wait,
got
no,
7
I'm
by
telling you, I
7.
love her. We know each other.
Yeah. So 49 years he has to find a human
Mm-hmm.
that has killed a fae unprovoked in cold blood, not in
Mm-hmm.
defense, not in self-defense.
So we're
Make
saying
her,
check,
yeah.
because Fira killed Andras, so check,
Yep. Have her fall in love with him,
check.
admit that she loves him and say, I love you.
She didn't, so not
She
check yet.
didn't do it. And if he could get a human girl to fall in love with him without seeing his hot fae looks,
Mm-hmm.
just for who he is, then she would lift the curse.
So now we go back to the night they were together for the first time. That we was average sex, but whatever. And he tells her, "I love you" in her ear. That was the first time. And then the second time is like when she's leaving in the carriage, and he's like, "I love you," and like that was so awkward.
This man has zero game.
We talked about it.
When he has to use his mouth,
We talk about it. Tamlin is a frat boy.
he's
We
so
know it.
dumb. He's so
He's a
dumb.
frat boy. He's a frat boy that is like the son's governor, and he never had to do anything in his life, so he doesn't have a game. That's okay. So
That's true.
we go back to Tamlin telling her those two times that he loved her. She never said it back.
Because she didn't want to be a burden.
Yeah, but if she had said "I love you" to Tamlin, everything would have been different. But no, ton. What
Yeah,
happened?
and that's why Lucian was like, "You dumb bitch! I thought you were smarter than that." And she was like, "The fuck, Lucian? I thought we were friends."
Part of the bargain is that nobody can tell this lady, this person that is gonna fall in love with Tamlin, that this is happening. Like the bargain
Mhm.
exists and the Amaranth exists and the whole thing that happened, right? So
Mhm.
we've been thinking the whole time, why is nobody telling her shit? And it's
No.
because they couldn't. They were not
Nope.
allowed. There was nothing in their power to like actually tell her that that was happening. So that is why now we understand that nobody said anything. And that's why that,
Yep.
even though that doesn't justify that Tamlin has one, anger management issues, and two, a very low EQ. Farah, it's like, okay, Alice, what can I do? She's like, where is Tamlin? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Where's
and
my
she's
man?
like,
Where's my man?
I gotta go get him. And Alice is like, you dumb human. Why? No. Like,
Yeah.
no. And she was like, I'm gonna go anyway. And then she grabbed some weapons or whatever. And Alice takes her to this secret passageway that somehow knocks a week or two off of her trip.
I mean, it's magic. What's the name?
We're not gonna question it.
We're not gonna question it because it's magic.
I want to know what was going through her head because she's staring at this crack in the cave. She knows that it's like the worst of fairies. And she's like, yeah, I'll take my knife. Like, what possessed her to think that this was a good idea?
what she thought it was good dick.
Oh,
Yeah.
love.
No. The
Yeah.
horniness. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, she goes through that crack, and I think it's what, like, I don't know, 45 seconds before before she's caught. Yeah. Oh, and I loved that part. This is the part of the book where Sarah J. Maas really deviated from what fantasy normally is.
Mm.
Usually the heroine or hero is very lucky.
Mm.
Like in any other writing, she would have gone undetected, or somebody would have caught her, but she would have gotten a good kill in on accident or whatever, and she would have been like stealthy and going around and whatever. Um, but that's not what happens. It's not, oh, she's lucky. It's like she's fucked immediately.
I do have to say I loved it
Oh,
because
I
if you would have,
I ate it up.
oh my god, if it would have been like, and she saved the world just by being her and blah blah blah, and like with her little knife. No, babes, no, 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 no.
No.
She went through it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's immediately caught, immediately brought to Amarantha, and
Yeah.
Tamlin's just sitting there. She's like, "Oh my god, Tamlin, my baby, my boo." Uh and he
And
just
Tamlin is
straight
like
up,
no reacting at all.
he has not one thought in his brain. And at first you're like, "Is this dude under a spell?"
Is
Like
he
what
like
is
glamour? Like something is happening there.
No, he just straight up was like, I don't know what to do anymore, so I'm just not gonna do anything. So Feyre's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, she has him under spell for sure. She's like, I love him. Yeah, and Amarantha's like, yeah, that bargain ended like a week ago. You're a bit too late. So new bargain. New bargain. You can do 3 tasks, or you can guess this riddle.
Yeah, but while all this is happening, Claire, the Claire that disappeared from the
Oh
village, she's
yeah.
behind Feyre, like crucified, basically, like Jesus Christ, right there. And
On the wall.
she's dead. She's dead,
Oh
but
yeah.
she's just like there.
She's been
And
tortured bad.
Feyre, I think that was the first traumatizing thing that Feyre cannot get up out of her head. Like that was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
point, the first point.
That's where I realized that like this was really deviating from YA,
Yeah.
because it was
That was gore. And we have to understand that Farah has this guilt of this happened to Claire because I made this happen. So she's like feeling guilty and like having all of these thoughts, and then Amarantha is like, you gotta fight for it. If you want this man, if you wanna save whatever, because Amarantha has this like very whatever, you're a human, you are not valuable to me, but if you want
Mhm.
to fight, you know what, let me do it because I can have fun
Yeah.
with you suffering, basically. So
Yeah,
what
she's like,
happens?
I'm bored, why not?
It's Farah, it's going to go through the 3 tests that she doesn't know what they are. She has
Mhm.
no idea. She just has to go blindly into
Mhm.
it and just wait. And while she's waiting, she's gonna be like in a cell. The conditions that she's living in under the mountain are like the worst,
Yeah.
like
Bad.
really the worst, like really bad. But
Yep.
before she leaves, basically Amarantha is like, okay, I brought you all monsters a punching bag.
Yeah. And she
And
gets
Farah eats the punching
beat.
bag.
She gets beat up bad. Bad.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
while all of this is happening, Tamlin is just
He just
looking.
he just sits there?
Yeah. So
Like
we
what?
didn't say this before, but everyone is under the mountain right now. Everyone
Mhm.
that is important is under the mountain right now. Meaning, all the 7 lords are under the mountain because Tamlin didn't win the bet, like the bargain bet, right? And everyone has to go there because now Amarantha is like this. She's going to be like that, maybe like a queen-ish type of thing.
She wants to be the queen of Prithian, the high queen of
Yeah.
Prithian.
And
Mhm.
nobody can do anything because, of course, they don't have the magic enough to like the powers to actually fight her. They don't
Because
have
she
anything.
took them. She took them powers.
Exactly.
After she gets beat up bad, she gets thrown in this dark, dingy, wet dirty cell, right?
It's like a dungeon type of thing.
For a month, almost.
Yeah.
Or like it
He
actually, I think it might have been a
waited.
couple weeks. But guess who shows up to heal her terrible wounds?
Lucian.
Lucian. I 100% was like gunning for her to end up with Lucian from the minute he was introduced in the book.
I know. I'm sorry,
I was
but
like,
I have nothing like against blonde people and blonde men. I think they're beautiful. They're chef kiss. But you give me Lucian with his red fiery hair and
it
his
can't be
like
denied.
canela morena, like brownish skin and his eyes. And I'm like, stop. Like how can I choose Tamlin?
Stop.
How can I choose Tamlin? How can you choose Tamlin, Feyre?
And it didn't even make sense to me because I was like, okay, well, he's like broody and quiet, whatever. And then you're introduced to Lucian by name first. You get Lucian's name first in the
Mm,
whole book, and
hmm
he's like more sassy and he's engaging with her more. And I was like, oh, she's 100% gonna fuck him,
And
right?
Lucian is, I have this thing that the funny guy gets the girl
Mm,
always
he
because
should.
we love to laugh. And Lucian is that guy.
He is. He is pretty funny.
But whatever.
Yeah.
He's the one that goes to the cell, to the
Yeah, she
dungeon
goes to
thing.
sell, and then I'm kidding. Then they just
Totally get
they
down.
totally fuck. No,
We wish. We wish.
yeah, that was my fan fiction. My bad. Yeah, so he goes in and he heals her up, and then basically so begins her life under the mountain for 3 months where she's
Yeah.
in here, and then once a month on the full moon, she gets to do a different horrible task.
And all of them are traumatizing.
And they're all so different.
This movie Saw,
Mhm.
they use torture in very interesting ways.
Yeah.
I think Sarah J. Maas read something very disturbing to inspire herself to write these 3 tasks. Lucian goes there to the
Mhm.
cell. She's like, oh my God, what is happening to my man? Is he okay? Why is he not reacting or whatever? And he's like, yeah, well, he cannot do much because Amarantha.
And all of his moves are being watched, so he just
Yeah.
has to keep his distance. And to me, that sounds like a
That's a
stupid
bro
excuse.
helping a bro.
Yeah, Lucian really was there for him there because he did not deserve that. But yeah, so
He did not.
we come up to the first task, which is
She has to fight a worm, a
a
huge worm.
giant, like a worm the size of a city bus.
You said that you found out something about
Oh
this
yeah, so
task. What was it?
I never put two and two together that the
Mhm.
mud that she was in was just excrement. It
Yeah,
was just
babes.
worm poop. I guess I blocked that part out of my brain when I read it for my own
When I tell you
well-being.
it's traumatizing, it is traumatizing.
Ugh. Somebody let slip to Amarantha that Feyre fancied herself a huntress, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I hope you can hunt better than you can paint. Sorry.
You did not did my girl Farah like that right now. You
You're the one who said she's a bad painter.
She is, but damn, she's going through so much right now.
I'm
Under the
sorry.
mountain.
A retelling. It'll be okay. She'll be fine. I'll send her an apology.
Oh.
So Amarantha's like, okay, you can hunt. Hunt this bitch.
Like
I
she's good.
gained so much respect for her in this scene because she was just like, not today, Amarantha.
Farah was like okay in like abilities. Like to me, she was okay in abilities, but after this, I was like, babes, you can
You are a babe.
survive. You know those reality shows when people go and survive? The Survival, I think that's
Survivor.
the name. Survivor. Literally, that's the name. She will go there and she will be like, I see you all. You got no chance.
Nothing. You have nothing on me.
So basically, the worm is dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, so everyone's like quiet because she won. She actually like won the first task. And then she goes up to see Amarantha and she's just throws the freaking bone at her. Right there, babes. I see it.
Yeah. She's got the pussy for it. It can take a pounding.
Oh my God.
And Amarantha says, well, that's interesting. Everyone bet against you except for one person. That's weird.
One person.
It was Razond, Mr. Violet Eyes.
What?
What kind of games is this motherfucker playing?
I
What is he
know.
doing?
Hey,
Anyways,
get it together, babes, because you're giving me mixed signals and like nar.
listen. So she gets sent back to her shit for a month, right?
Again.
Immediate infection. What?
I mean, I'm sorry, but that was excrement.
Yeah, she's covered in shit and she has a bone going
Bone.
through her arm.
She's not basically sleeping because how can you like have a good night of sleep in that place? Like that is impossible, right? And
She's
then
vomiting and shitting in one corner.
yeah. And the fever is like killing her
Yep.
because she has
And
an infection.
yeah, and guess she's sitting there just like, when the fuck is Tamlin gonna show up to heal me again?
Either Tamlin
Or
or Lucian,
Lucian.
like
Sorry, when the
what
fuck is
are they?
Lucian?
Like
Yeah.
she has this feeling that I know they're gonna come here at some point. So I just have to wait, right?
Yeah.
They never come, babes. They never come.
But you know who does come with us? Aha, sorry. Do you know who does come? Rizan, Mr. Violet Eyes. He just shows up.
Yep, he
But you
did.
know,
The
he's not
most
doing this.
beautiful man she's ever seen.
And he's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. Oh,
Of course
Nene.
not. Oh no,
He
no,
shows up,
no.
he's like, all right, I'll fix that for you. But you have to make me a deal. And
Mm-hmm.
she legit
Again, a
almost fell away
bargain.
after Alice was like, do not make bargains with fairies. And this is now
Why?
she's
But why? Why?
because they're tricky and they will always find a
Mm-hmm.
way to exploit you.
Yep.
She's faced with her second bargain and she's like, no. And this bitch almost dies.
Because she was delirious when he got there. She was delirious already. Like she if he didn't get there that night, she probably would have been dead by the
Oh
morning
yeah.
because she
100%.
was like out of it already. And he's like, okay, so you prefer to die
Yeah.
than like
Yeah.
do this for me, meaning you don't love Tamlin that much. He says very interesting things to her so she can
Yeah.
like actually change her mind.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah. And she negotiates, which proud of her. Good for her. And
Yeah.
all he seemingly wants is for her to
Yeah.
come and spend 2 weeks every month. And she's like, no, 1 week. So 1 week every month,
Mm,
she has to go live in the night court with him,
yeah.
where all the worst fairies there live, right?
Yeah, we have to have this in mind. Under the mountain, it's terrifying. It's horrific. Everyone
Mhm.
that lives there, everything, the whole decorations, let's put it that way. Like Amarantha was like
Mhm.
very good at decorating. And Amarantha got inspired to create Under the Mountain from the Night Court. And who is the High Lord of the Night Court? Resent.
Mr.
Mr.
Purple Eyes.
You were going to say the same thing.
You were gonna sing it?
Yeah.
Hungry Eyes.
I love it. And then she's negotiating. And she's like, okay, 1 week. Let's do 1 week. And you save me. And we have this deal.
Because he starts going away. He's like, all right, bye. And then
Uh-huh.
she's like,
Mhm.
wait. And then he says yes. And then boom, she's all tatted up.
Every time you make a bargain with someone from the night court, you get a tattoo immediately. Meaning you will see the bargain in your skin. People will know that you have a bargain, right? And that you are like under this type of thing. So she gets this very particular tattoo on her. I think it's her arm and her.
It's like elbow down all the way to the
Yeah.
fingertips.
Yeah.
Including,
By the way. Beautiful.
including
Yes.
an eyeball on her hand.
An eyeball on her hand. I'm obsessed with that tattoo. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, heck yes. She is like, what the fuck just happened? And she's, of course, the first thought that she has is something's gonna see this.
Yeah, she's pissed.
He tells her that Lucian is being punished because he helped her, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and then we forgot there's another part to that bargain.
What was it?
She is his to do with what he pleases every night while they're under the mountain. I need to know if you were her and you like didn't know anything and you really loved Tamlin, you were in love with Tamlin, and this man was here
Mm.
giving you this, how fast would you say yes?
Before he asked.
Would you have even, why would you want less time with this man?
Before he asks, I will be like, I will be the ones telling him, do you want me to, you know? Yeah.
He's like coming in via shadow, just like manifesting through the shadow. He's not
He's
even fully
just,
corporeal yet. And she's like, yes,
uh,
immediately, yes. Yes. Whatever
no.
it is. What were you gonna say? Yes.
Oh, and he cleans her because she's
Yep.
dirty. Like she's
And he gets rid of
disgusting.
all the vomit and shit in the corner because it
Yeah,
smells
he
bad.
basically does like a little bit of a cleaning slash makeover to the dungeon that she's staying at.
We love a homemaker. Uh she starts getting picked up by these two handmaidens of Rizans and put in the skankiest outfits
They're like
every
ghosts
night.
slash shadows. These
Yeah,
two ladies,
it's like if
women.
you took the ghost shadow ladies.
Yeah.
And like they put her in this thing, like if you took a scarf and tried to make it a whole dress, that's this dress. It's literally
It's
leaving
just,
nothing to the imagination.
yeah,
From somebody who was raised the way she was raised and where she was raised, that's got to be
yeah.
really like scary feeling for her.
That's very intimidating.
Yeah, and then he has her painted in all these swirls so that he can tell if anyone tries to touch her.
Yep. And every night she is getting drunk on
Yeah.
fairy wine.
And not voluntarily, he's like, "Here, drink this."
Yeah.
And she's like, at that point, I think she's just like, "Oh, fuck it. I'd rather be out of my mind."
Yeah. And she's not remembering anything the next morning.
Mhm.
So one morning, Lucian goes to visit her because he's now out of his punishment. And he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mhm.
Like, babes, you are going wild while you're drunk.
Uh-huh.
She's like, why? What happened? What am I doing? And he's like, you're dancing like a whore.
Well, because Rhys calls her over and is like,
Yeah.
"Dance for me now," and he makes her like give him lap dances all night.
Yeah.
But
I
he
would do it.
also
I would do it sober. I want to remember.
But here's something that like needs to be pointed out because it was pointed out, but I didn't take it seriously at the
Mm,
time. She wakes up in the morning and there's no mismarkings on her swirls. So nobody's touched her, including Rizan. A lot more respectful than you would assume.
yeah. To be like, we have this, while we're reading the book, you get this idea that Rhys is like the worst thing ever. He is a bastard. He is cruel. He is a monster. I think that she uses that word actually. He's a
Mhm.
monster, right? And
Mhm.
he's a monster, but he's like not touching her at all.
Yeah. So why what's in it for him? He's
Yeah.
playing like we're all playing checkers and this man is playing 4D chess. He is on a different level, right? And we can't figure it out. And
His
part of
games
me,
are mental. Everything is like
yeah.
here.
And part of me was like, "Oh, like I can't." Part of me wants him to be like the sexy love interest. The other part of me wanted him to just be the real bad guy, but like the
Yeah.
real cunning bad guy because he was doing it so well.
During these nights, a few things happen, and at some point, Lucian has to get punished, and then Rizan has to punish him, and he kind of does, and he can kill him, but he decides not to.
I totally forgot about that.
He has the power to do it, like in a snap of his fingers, but
Yeah.
he doesn't kill Lucian,
Mhm.
and he could have because Amarantha was telling him do it. Feyre is watching all of this, and she's like, okay, I see him, and I see that he has this opportunity of killing this Fae and
Mhm.
telling Amarantha everything because
And
she knows,
torturing.
yeah, and because she knows that he has these like powerful powers, and she's like, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Now we get to the second test. What is the second test?
The second test, Feyre has to solve another riddle. There are red hot spikes slowly descending from the ceiling. And then on the other side is Lucian, and he is incapacitated. And there are also red hot spikes coming down towards him. And now, if she messes up, it's not just her life, it's
Mm-hmm.
Lucian's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be damned if Amarantha didn't write this on a wall and be like, read it. And Feyre
She
can't
did.
read.
She did. But Amarantha doesn't know that.
She didn't know that. So she's sitting there like, I got three levers to pull.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read those, so how the fuck am I gonna know? She's like, all right, let's go with number one, right? She goes to pull it, and she gets this like searing pain on her hand real
Yeah.
quick.
And while all of this is happening, Lucian is like, Farah, do not let me get killed right now. I will
Yeah.
fucking haunt you forever.
I was like, Lucian, not helpful. Shut the fuck up.
Lucian don't want, he didn't want to die at all. In
I
that
mean, like,
moment, he was like, Farah, get it together, bitch. Get it together.
what's she supposed to do? Learn how to read right now? Like, that doesn't, it's not helpful, Lucian. It's just not. How about some words of encouragement? How about you got this? I believe in
Or
you.
like freaking read it, dude, and tell me.
Why didn't he just start saying it out loud? I don't know.
Yeah, like I love you, Lucian, but damn, that moment was low for you.
It was like, help me help you, Lucian. Come on. Um,
So she gets this like
yeah,
no
it's like,
feeling. It's a
so
feeling.
it's just a feeling. So she's like, what the fuck? So she goes to reach for it again. And she feels it, and she's like, that's weird. So then she like goes to reach for the other one, and it hurts again. She's like, holy shit. Then I mean, this thing's close. It's like she's sweating because she can feel the heat radiating off of it. And she's like, all
Yeah.
right, I guess I got to go with this. So she grabs the last option. It doesn't hurt. So she pulls it, it stops. And Amarantha's like, what the fuck? She got pissed.
Yeah. She's like 2 out of 3. What the heck?
Yeah. And Feyre is about to break. She is on the verge.
Yeah. I mean, Lucian's
And
life was on her hands. And then Claire, and then, this bargain
yeah.
with Rhys. Like, I get it, babes. You
Yeah.
were going through it.
Yeah, and she's like raised out of this pit, and she's so defeated, and
Mm.
Amarantha is kind of upset, and that's when Feyre hears in her head, "Don't let her see you cry."
She gets it together.
She
Yeah.
musters.
I really feel she did.
She's like, "I will schedule my breakdown for later." And then
And she does. She definitely does.
turns on her heel and just stomps out of there, and then
Yeah.
she's just a mess. She's a mess, and
Yeah.
she's ready to fucking end it. She's ready to
And
die.
she's actually ready for Rhys's mates to get there and get her drunk.
Yeah.
She's like anticipating that moment
Yeah. She's
of getting like
self-medicating.
drunk
She's
in. Yeah.
self-medicating at that point. She's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to fucking be here anymore.
When I was reading that, I really thought she was gonna be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
For at some
Don't
point
worry,
in the
Sarah
book.
J. Maas gives us alcoholism at some point, so it'll be fine. We're at the last party before the third task. And
Yes. Finally.
guess who suddenly has all of the energy to try to squeeze one last fuck in before everything's over?
Tamlin.
Yeah, that motherfucker Tamlin. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna go off for a moment, okay? Don't.
Before you go off for a moment, I'm just gonna say something.
I'm not gonna go
I
off
was
yet.
I was now feeling Mr. Tamlin for a
Mhm.
little bit now,
Mhm.
because how can you
What's
let
he
your
doing?
woman how can you let your woman be treated that way?
Exactly.
One.
Right.
But this moment, for me,
Mm.
I was done.
Yeah.
I was done completely. Continue,
Because
Reshea.
no, you're correct. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Because so you're saying that you absolutely could have risked it for the biscuit before, but not until, oh shit, I might not get laid by her ever again. And then on top of that, you finally have time to sneak away. You're not plotting. You're not trying to figure out how to help her. You're not trying to figure out how to get her to safety. You're just like, hey, can I get my dick wet real quick? What? Almost as if he did not grasp the fact that her life was on the line. He's fine. He's gonna be fine.
The way I'm mad right now because I'm remembering this.
Yeah. And it's God, I'm so mad about it. Like, are you serious? You finally have a moment and you're just gonna be like, hey, let's make out a little bit. You're gonna die tomorrow anyway. What? And then the door opens. They're in a broom closet. His belt's off. Door opens. Rhys is just standing there.
He has her like on a wall and on a table and like on the wall, like, you know, they're ready to just get it wet.
He had her pushed against a wall and it was like just the tip.
And Rhys is like, oh, this is so nice.
Oh,
and you know, when you
if I were you.
when you imagine Rhys, you know, his voice is like just so like velvet, you know.
Absolutely.
It. And I know he was like, if you want to give me a show, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah.
And the way he covered for Tamlin in this moment was shocking. Amazing. Shocking. He's like, you got to get the fuck out. Tamlin's like, oh shit. And then
because he tells Tamlin, what are you doing?
Yeah, you big dumb idiot.
Like, you dumbass bitch. And I'm not talking about you, Feyre. I'm talking about him.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Feyre, she thinks that she's gonna die. Maybe she thinks, you know what? Maybe this is gonna be my last fuck. Maybe.
Yeah.
And
what's she gonna do? She can't do anything.
Like, I get it, Feyre. Get it together, babes. Not you, Tamlin. Get it together, babes. Because Feyre, she is in all her right to be like, tonight I'm gonna be with Rhys or with you or whatever. Because tomorrow I might die.
Yeah, for sure. And
but you, Tamlin, you have it together. You know what is happening, and you decide to do that. He couldn't even tell her, like, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? Are you eating well? How are they treating you? No. They didn't even care. Fucking talk. He just went and like, oh my god. So continue.
Yeah. So then, because all of her paint's all fucked up, Rhys is like, well, now I guess I gotta touch you to make it look like I did it and not Tamlin. So then he kind of gropes her and kisses her, and not the greatest, but I get it.
I didn't mind it. Not gonna lie.
I didn't mind it. And if I were Feyre, I wouldn't have minded it. And the fact that there are people who are like, we don't stand it because there's no consent. I'm sorry, would you rather have had Amarantha see what was going on?
And those people don't know about CNC, so.
So yeah. What's that? Moving on. So then Rhys and Feyre are making out. And then Amarantha walks in.
Yeah.
With the adder.
Rhys, of course, Rhys knew that Amarantha was coming. Of course he knew. Yeah. He wouldn't done this if he didn't know that she was coming. But of course, he was like, you know what? Let me get it for a minute. Why not? Let me enjoy this.
Exactly. And Feyre was pissed.
We get it, babes.
But he saved her life pretty much, because Amarantha would have just ended that bitch if she knew that she was getting some with the side piece that wouldn't give her the time of day.
She wants to have, After this happens, Amarantha gets jealous and she's like, you are not with this motherfucking lady that took my Tamlin. You're gonna pay for this. And she goes feral in a sexual way. Like, she's like, I'm gonna jump you and we're gonna do it the whole night. And at some point he escapes her and he's like, okay, I'll be back. Maybe I'll go into the bathroom or whatever. And he goes to Feyre, cute by the way.
I forgot.
And he's like, okay. And he's like, okay, Feyre, I need a moment.
His dick is chafed at this point. He needs a break.
He's like,
You
okay,
know
nigga.
she's a dusty, dry bitch. You know it.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I like
I don't
Amarantha. I
know.
like her.
I'm forgetting this guy's name, but the one who gives her the tattoo, like he's gonna play a very interesting part in this. And I feel like the fact that they're always commenting on how attractive he is, I'm like, is there gonna be like some naughty scenes with him? Like, what is gonna happen? And also like I cannot like how they give you that bit of preview of the second book. I'm like, okay, he's already one of the main characters, I can tell. So let's see. I hope there's a lot of dirty, dirty sex, is what I'm hoping for, basically, in the next couple books. So that's why I can't wait to jump in.
He's in the cell with her,
Mhm.
and they have this heart to heart moment, right? Like he is telling her, I the reason that you have these paintings in your body is because I want Tamlin to see that I'm not touching you, that you
He's
are
a
safe,
good
that you're
man.
safe, and I want Tamlin to fight with me. And Feyre's like, why are you her whore? And he's like, my father killed Tamlin's father. And
Right.
Amarantha was friends or like colleagues or something with Tamlin's family.
Yeah. That's how she met Tamlin when he was a
Exactly.
child.
And she was a grown as adult. That's the only
Mm.
part that I don't like about Miss Amarantha. And then he's like, yeah, my father killed Tamlin's father. And she's like, that's one of the reasons why I'm with her, right? Like she has me here. All of his people are like under her ruling, and she's a horrible creature. So he's like, I don't want them to be having the same problems that maybe other courts have. I don't want her
Mhm.
to kill them. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I do everything she wants, because I'm protecting them.
Mhm.
And Feyre sees them and she's like, if you ask me that to save me, I would have had to be with you every week of my life, I would have said yes. And looks at her and he's like, I know. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to cry.
Yeah.
The third trial comes up and it's a doozy. And this is where if you had any um question as to whether Sarah J. Maas was thoroughly deviating from YA, it ends here. Basically, Feyre's
Yeah.
just standing in the middle of a room and there's still an arena of people around them.
She's the
And there's
entertainment. We know.
Yep, and there's three Fey-like beings being walked out with sacks over their heads, and then they're knelt
Yeah.
on the ground.
Amarantha is like on top of this
Mhm.
thing, watching down at Feyre, and all of the seven lords are with her,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tamlin is on her
Yeah.
left, right? And everyone is
Yeah.
like there. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mhm. So so these Fey-like beings are knelt with the bags on their heads. Feyre looks up at Tamlin one last time and says, "I love you."
She's like, I
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there next to Amarantha doing nothing again. Then Amarantha says, "Kill them. Stab them in the heart."
Yep.
And there's Faye behind each one of these people with an ash dagger on a pillow, and she has to pick it up. She has to stab them in the heart. One is like a young boy, like a I
Teenager.
imagine like 12. I imagine like 12 or
Oh,
13-year-old
a
boy is what
preteen.
I was
Okay.
imagining. Yeah. And he's crying and he doesn't want to die, and she kills him. Yeah, she decided she's like, I'm gonna do it to save everyone,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's sacrificing three to save everyone. But after I kill that last one, I'm turning that dagger on myself.
Yeah.
She had just decided, she's like, I'm done. I can't do this
Yeah.
anymore.
She's like, I'll do it for everyone, I'll save everyone, but I will kill myself because
Yeah. I can't live with it.
I cannot be myself. I cannot live with this. I cannot face anybody else after doing this.
I don't blame her either. That's rough. Yeah.
Imagine killing 3 innocent Fae people, whoever. Like, that's
Oh, the worst
the
one was probably
worst.
the child who was begging for it, who was begging to not die.
I know.
At least the second one was an older woman, like maybe like she read in my mind like 30 or 40 years old,
And she
right?
was like, she was okay. She was at peace.
She was reciting the same prayer that Tamlin had recited when that blue fairy had been killed on his land.
Yeah.
Um, and she stabs that. And then they take the cover off of the third fairy, and it's Tamlin.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
the love of her life. She's got to stab him in the heart. And she
And
looks
she's
up.
like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. And then it's not Tamlin up there. It's the adder who had a glamour on him. And she's like, oh shit. And she doesn't know what to do because the whole reason was to save Tamlin. And if she kills Tamlin, then how the fuck is she going to save Tamlin?
Yep.
And then she has like one of those montage moments from like 80s movies where like you see their head, or like that meme where it's the blonde lady, like staring like this, and like all the little math symbols are floating around. Yeah, she's having that meme moment. And she's like, oh, Alice said, listen to everything and make sure. And then she's like trying to remember things that she heard in passing. And she realizes one of them said Amarantha would never do anything that is not advantageous to her. She doesn't want Tamlin to die. So why would she put his life at risk? And then she thinks about it more. And there's that scene in the garden where she's listening to the adder, the invisible adder that she couldn't see at the time, speak to Tamlin. And he said, you know, for having a heart of stone, you sure are a softie, or whatever he said. And she's like, oh shit, I can't kill him. She wouldn't do something to actually make him die because
if we go back a little bit, we understand that Amarantha is obsessed with Tamlin. Like, she
obsessed.
wants him.
She's doing all of this just so he'll be her bitch.
Yeah.
Like, clearly she's not willing to go through all this and then just be like, kill him.
No,
like,
not at all.
Absolutely not. So she realizes, she's like, oh shit, I'm all good. And she like
I
looks
can
at him, she says,
actually
I
stab
love
him
you.
in the heart because he
It's
has
literally made of stone. The adder wasn't being facetious, and she stabs him, and he's alive, and Amarantha's pissed, and then they realize that the masks aren't falling off.
Yep. Meaning she passed all the tests, all the
Yeah.
trials, everything, and
Yeah.
the bargain, it's not gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, excuse me, bitch. I did what you asked. And Amarantha's like, I may be a bitch, but I'm not a dumb one, because I said that
Mm-hmm.
I would lift the curse. Just I didn't say when. And
Everyone
I don't
is
know about
like,
you.
what?
You bitch.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
let's point this out because I think it's very important. Everyone there wants Feyre to win because
At that
they
point,
don't
yeah.
want Amarantha. They are terrified of Amarantha. Like, nobody likes her, but of course they're terrified of her. So they like whatever.
And they
Amarantha.
didn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
hope. Like they didn't want to lend
Exactly.
themselves to hope.
But
Yeah.
once Amarantha is like, no, you are the dumb one because I said, everyone was like, what? No, blah. And then
And there wasn't a whole lot that they could do yet because they didn't have their full power back. So then Amarantha is just pissed. She's big mad. And she starts just pummeling Feyre again. Feyre's just a punching bag at this point.
Yeah.
And she is straight up torturing her. She's breaking bones and everything. And she's gonna end Feyre's life. And she snaps Feyre's neck. And as Feyre is dying, she realizes, or just before she snaps her neck, she realizes the answer to the riddle.
And what does she say, Reshea?
Love. It's love. And then Amarantha's like, damn it, and snaps her neck.
And she dies. Yes, everybody listening to this, Feyre, the main character, dies. And that's how the whole series ends, and we're not This podcast is just 2 episodes.
And it's over. And now we get to move on to Ice Planet Barbarians.
Yes, bye everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. You wish, bitch.
Yeah. That wouldn't be fantasy, would it? Then she takes then the curse is broken and all these high lords have their power again, especially Tamlin and
Tamlin.
Rhys.
Yep.
And who was the first person to try to stop Amarantha, by the way, during all of this?
Yes, while all of this is happening, Mr. Violet Eyes and the most beautiful man I've ever seen, Rhys, it's fighting Amarantha
Not even
because
full power yet.
no, because
Yeah.
she actually I think she does something to him. Really, remember?
She like fucks him up and he's like laying passed out or
And
like
while he's like laying
incapacitated.
there, yeah, while he's like laying there, he cannot move or whatever. He's like, no, and like Feyre, and he's like looking at Feyre while she's like suffering, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful moment because he's the only one
Sad.
doing something.
Yep. And then once everybody gets their power back, Tamlin's like, I'm a man again. And he's like, and then he just straight up like Rhys throws him a knife, and then Tamlin just right through the throat and just has her nailed up on the wall right underneath Claire Beddor.
And then I think he shifts, right? And then
and then he rips her throat out.
Yeah, he rips her throat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he stops and he realizes, oh shit, like Feyre's dead. But if you recall, this whole book is taking place from Feyre's first person point of view. So where's Feyre?
She's dead.
She's dead, but she's still conscious enough to be telling us what's happening. She says she's looking at everything through a different set of eyes.
Yes, she is.
And she's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go yet.
So she's looking at this while she's dead through someone's eyes. We don't know who that person is. We have no idea what is happening. We just know that someone that is there, it's giving her this passage window to see what is happening.
And it's like she's still tethered to this realm that she's in, the mortal-ish realm, right?
Yeah.
But she's fading, like she's going away, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. I want to go home. Tamlin is holding Feyre's broken dead body. Her neck snapped. And he's begging for help. And he looks to all of the High Lords and he's like, just pleading. Like, oh. And one by one, slowly, starting with the High Lord of the Autumn Court, which will seem weird later. He walks up and then following him are all the other ones. And as they approach, they like just put their hand down and a like glowing seed of magic is dropped into Feyre. And all 7 High Lords contribute a little drop of their magic to her. And she is snapped back into her body. But it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. Aside from being not broken or in pain anymore, she's realizing it just feels different. And Feyre was brought back, made as a high fae.
I was really not that surprised when Feyre was turned into a high fae. I feel like it was giving me a lot of Twilight, when she's entered into a vampire. But then the more I reflect on it, the more it makes sense because the last line of that first book is, war's coming. So you know that something's about to go freaking down. It's going to be a big fight, probably to protect the human realm from slavery again. Like, what?
What? I had no idea. I know. What does it mean? What does it mean? What do you
mean? What does it mean? Like okay, so I think it was very predictable that Feyre was going to be a fae, but I understand that was necessary for the book. Because Feyre being human doesn't give me much. Babes, I'm human. No. Even though I am so proud of her for like going through all of that through her human body. Like she was
Yeah,
human in human form while she defeated Amarantha. Like, I'm sorry, but nobody can say anything about my girl. Nobody.
exactly. I agree.
She's a
I
very bad
was
painter, but she is a fighter.
total
Sh-
badass.
Total badass. That is
Mm.
exactly what I was thinking. And after all of that happens, they stay one more night because they're free. Everybody has their magic now. Everybody's out
Mhm.
of the freaking masks. Everybody's free-ish in a way.
Yeah, and she sees Tamlin's face for the first time.
And she's like,
Mm.
damn, I knew you were handsome, but
Mm.
where?
It's giving cheekbones.
Yes. And like the hair and like Tamlin is beautiful, let's be honest. Like he's beautiful. He's like he gives me Greek, blonde
Oh,
Greek god. He gives me those vibes. Like
okay.
physically.
Yeah,
Um
okay.
But she's like, "Oh my god, you're beautiful." She's like,
Mhm.
"I knew my instincts were right. I choose well." And then that happens. They stay one more night. Feyre couldn't sleep because
Mhm.
now Feyre has what is called now wanting to be alive because she's very traumatized. Like she cannot
So
live with herself.
depression, PTSD, and on
All
top
in all
of
of the
that
above.
now she has face senses, so she can hear everything and smell
Yeah.
everything and taste everything
And she's like super
and see
strong and
everything.
everything, and she doesn't
But
know how to
she's just like,
manage.
how do you sleep when you can hear a cricket fart 500 yards away? Like, how are you gonna? So she's just laying in bed, tossing and turning.
And while she's doing that, she feels like this nagging feeling of I have to go up to the roof.
Yeah, she feels
And
a pull.
yeah, that thing, like, I don't know, I just have to go there. And what happens
Like
there?
right here, just like,
Yeah.
I gotta go. And she finds this room and standing on this balcony in the
Mm-hmm.
room is Rhys.
Violet Iris on.
Violet eyes. Sorry. I can't unhear it now. So yeah, Rhys is standing there and he just kind of wanted to see her and talk to her for a minute and just be like, that was shitty, huh? Like,
Feyre asked Rhys, Rizan, why did you fight Amarantha? Like, why were you doing that while I was dying, right? And he's like, babes, I didn't want you to fight alone.
oh,
I think that you deserve better, basically. And she's like, okay. And he's like, how do you feel about your new Fae body? And she's like, I feel like my body is Fae, but like my heart is human. And he says something that I love. And I had to like tell you guys, be glad of your human heart, Farah. Pity those who don't feel anything at all.
mm.
I love that. I remember that, and oh, I love that part. And then while Reese is saying like goodbye, he's like, "What? What is happening?"
Just like color drains out of his face and he looks like he just saw a ghost and he's like,
Yeah.
huh.
He's like, "No," and Farah's like, "What the fuck, dude?" He's like, and he leaves.
Yeah.
He
He like
disappears.
stumbles backwards and disappears. And she's like,
Yep. So basically, we learned that Amarantha's body is burned, but Jurian's eye and bone, they have disappeared.
mm-hmm.
They're not in the premises. What
Yeah.
happened? What
And
happened with them, Reshea?
absolutely nothing. Actually, nothing happened.
Nothing at all. It's not relevant to the story at all.
Somebody's just really into macabre jewelry. That's it.
Yeah, totally, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
and then she goes back to Tamlin, and they had a fiery night and sexy,
Wow,
spicy
chicka, wow,
time. Yep.
wow.
And they go back to the Supreme Court, and everyone goes back, and everyone on the under the mountain goes back to their respective courts, and that's it. That's the end of the book.
Happily ever after.
That's it.
And it really is a happily ever after.
It is. It is. I mean, Tamlin got her. She got Tamlin. Her family is rich as fuck. She
Everyone's free. The bad guy's dead.
she is like in love with this man. He's in love with her, and it's beautiful. Like it's actually happy ending. It's a really happy
Yeah.
ending.
So that would mean that, like, A Court of Mist and Fury is just after ever after.
You will think that. Is it though?
Like, well, I mean it is, because it's what happens after the happily ever after. So
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen, but that's what I was really when I finished this book, I was so excited to read the second book, like,
Mm,
immediately, because I was like, finally, it's like you got the story and now you're getting the behind the scenes sequel afterwards, like what happened, as opposed to that feeling of like watching Snow White or watching Cinderella or watching Beauty and the Beast and they're
yeah.
like, oh, happily ever after. Like it's almost like the getting married part in those movies is just like, and the end, and there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And here, like, the guy gets the girl gets the guy, everybody's free, and she could have just ended it and made it like a standalone book, and it would have been great.
But we have 4 more books.
And she's not done yet.
Nerd, nerd, nerd. So from chapter 29 to the end right now, which
Mhm.
ones are, or tell me one character that is not Tamlin nor Feyre that is your favorite character?
I'm gonna go with the adder.
Interesting. You're picking a villain. Look at you, babes. Having your
It's
villain
what happens.
moment.
It's because I haven't eaten since breakfast.
And it's because
I'm in my
you
villain
are
era.
entering your villain era.
Hey, Susie,
Tell me.
if you could pick one
Amarantha.
minor character.
Amarantha. No, that Amarantha. Yeah,
That's exactly how I would have said yes to Rhys
I
when
know.
he came
I
down.
know. I know.
Glad you got it.
No doubt, Amarantha. She is one of the best villains that I read.
She is a good villain.
I love
She's a
her.
great
She's
villain. You
fantastic.
loved it and you love to hate her. That's a good
Yes.
villain.
One thing that you have to pick. One thing from the first book. What would it be? One thing, just one thing. Anything you want to share from this book.
I think I loved these books so much because Sarah made a shift in the genre to something more realistic and something more relatable and something that doesn't always work out the right way.
Mm.
So having a character that's not a virgin and not afraid of casual sex was the first thing that hooked me.
Mm.
And then having strong female characters throughout. I know that, like, it was almost like all of the guys except for Rhys were himbos, just like kind of dumb, kind of jockey.
Mm.
The ones who were like planning things and who were
Strategizing.
plotting and strategizing. It was Feyre. It was Nesta. It was Alice. Alice is sitting there just like, would you just listen to me for a second? And then
Dumbest bitch.
Amarantha,
Yeah.
like, God damn it. Human. Yeah. And then Amarantha, even like how often do we get the bad guy being a woman and being good at it?
Totally.
Like, I really just loved that it was so different and so validating as a reader. Cause I've always read books that are just, you're reading a guy's story. So you're not reading your own story. It's not,
Mm.
there's no way you could be the main character, you know? And as my therapist always tells me, you are the main character of your own story.
And that's on period.
So, all right.
Now,
How about you? Like, if there's one thing that you're like, I got to talk about it, what is it?
the world building of this book.
Oh, yeah.
It's mind blowing. The way Sarah J. Maas actually describes the people, their personalities, their customs, how bad they are. She doesn't use words like he's so bad. He's like he's a monster, or
Mhm.
like those little thingies that you're like, oh, it captivates me. It captivated me so much. I will say world building. She did an amazing job at starting this book. At the beginning, for me, it was
Mhm.
boring, and then you just need to finish it.
Mhm.
For me, that was very important because for the other books, I needed to know how the human realms and Prithian worked, so I could understand the whole other books on the series.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If I had to pick something, it will be that. And second thing will be Amarantha. She is again one of the best villains. Like she's so cruel. She's a monster. She is something that I would love to see in movies because we never
Yeah.
have women that are like that bad.
I wish that she hadn't have died, and that
Same.
in the future, instead of having the omniscient king of Highburn, her boss, that it had been her, because I
Yeah.
feel like she's a much more captivating character.
And the fact that Hybern is a man and it's like doing everything that they've been doing for years and years and years in like the actual human history of our realm, it's just
Yeah.
boring as fuck.
The women villains, you've got Poison Ivy and then Corella Deville. Like,
Love both of them. Love them. I'm telling you, have a
mm,
thing. This is our second episode. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us. And I know that we're like sassy and whatever, but we really appreciate it. And we deserve it. So do whatever you're going to do because I don't care.
way to flip it. Way to
I
be
know.
like, ah shit, I dropped my bad bitch energy. Let me just pick
I'm
it up real
like, I've been
quick.
too nice for too long. I cannot keep
I
this up.
rubbed off on you, and not in the fun way.
No,
That's
whatever.
okay.
But guys, we really guys, I'm so excited for you. So
Mhm.
I'm
It's
choking
gonna
and
be great.
everything.
We really love this journey for you guys.
Yeah. So I'm really appreciative of you guys taking the time to listen to us. And if you want to,
Mhm.
if you want to leave a review, you're more than welcome right now. If you want to wait for like the third episode or like the end of the season to do a review, you can definitely do that. But we will love your feedback. And please do not like think that we don't want you to tell us how we can improve. I want to know.
Oh yeah.
Please let us know either in a review or either as a DM or in an email.
Mhm.
We want to know. We want to get that feedback because that's how we can get better for you, even though we do everything for ourselves, and that's on period. Um, we want to
Sure.
get better. We want to get better. We want to be better. And you can help us with that. If you think
Mhm.
that doing like chapter by chapter is better, let us know. If you think that you just want to know a specific points about a book that you have for us, send us that so we can
Mhm.
actually talk about that. And if you have book recommendations, do not even hesitate nor think that we're not interested. We are interested. We're a book horse. Yes, we are book hosts. So please send that our way so we can start working on that. We really appreciate you. We love you. We are in all social medias. If you want to see more of us, you do, babes. What are you doing? You do. Reshea, what are our social medias?
You can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at Come With Us Pod. And if you want to send us a fun hot take email on what your unpopular opinion, or if you just want to talk to us and tell us how your day's going, go ahead and shoot us an email at comewithuspodofficial@gmail.com. And you can also find me on my socials on Instagram at Reshea_reads, and we'll write that here or it's in a description somewhere. On TikTok at Charlotte Rivers 4.
At Susie Nunez on Instagram, and on TikTok is Susie Nunez 1111. Guys, babes, Feybays, we love you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, week, night. And remember, you can always, always, always get off if you come with us. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Love you, boo boo.